customer, but the field has been added that we've discussed. But so I'm not going to go through all of that again. We've seen it together. What I'd like to do today, again, is just to go through through an interbranch process with you. Okay. Without FedEx again. But the main aim of this is really to do the return part, or well, not the return part, but the as soon as the items have already been shipped. So if we could start from scratch from Dallas, so we're going to be at the reservation level. We can do a new reservation. I'll try.
What's these are dashed or negative?
Yeah, the negative ones are uploads from your previous database. So that's the order number. We actually deliberately did it this way, to put it negative, in order to distinguish them from the rest. So that's pretty much it. That means it's all transactions. So when we do the upload again, that might be the case. You might start with negative order numbers, and then all new transactions you do in Series E will have a positive number. Okay, so let's start with a new reservation. I'll drive the first one, and then you can do one after me. So, okay, click on the plus.
Well, I'm not even seeing that yet. I'm still seeing that. Okay, here we go.
Reservation screen just came up.
So also the cursor is now at customer. We could type in the code if you know it. We could search for it. I'm looking forward to see what the speed will be once it's on your side. I'm very confident it'll be much better as well.
I sure hope so.
Okay, so in delivery we need to make sure that, again, this in general, I've checked as well, your database is pretty good in terms of addresses, but if there wasn't an address, it will give you a warning. And in this case, it will still give us a warning because of the state not being in our tax rolls yet. I'm leaving it there for a reason, so that we can get used to that in the training as well. So that's the delivery section. In detail, we're going to select the item that we'd like to add. So you want to pick the item, one that would exist in either, will have quantity in either Chicago or New Jersey as well.
Yeah, that has 6150 probably.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, cool. Hold on,
We got color codes showing up, so. Does that green by that item mean that it's available in Dallas because we're in Dallas?
That's correct. So that's what the green means. Now, okay, so let's go for a quantity of one. It's going to be fine. We'll just do a basic transaction like this. So I'm going to click on save first. It will give us this message, but it will still allow us to continue as it stands. Now, if we would like to do an interbranch or initiate an interbranch transfer, I'm going to start with the basic way, which is we check off the option interbranch transfer, and we click on the interbranch transfer icon at the top.
Okay.
Which will bring up the IBT screen. So we select the branch that we'd like to initiate the transfer from. Now generally, and I'll show the other method right after, we'll be able to see immediately from the console transaction screen whether there's availability at that branch. Let's just do it this way first. So we would select drop shipment if they're shipping directly to the customer. Okay. And I'll click on OK. So the surefire way to know that the IBT worked is the fact that under IBT here we now see 02 and then R with a number. That means reservation number, whatever it is. So that is the actual reservation number on the other side. Branch number 2. Okay. Now if I double clicked on this, I would actually get that transaction appear. I won't be able to modify anything on that transaction because it's a transaction in the other branch. If I wanted to modify anything, I would need to log into that branch first. But here I could at least see this is the item.
Okay.
Now, if we can imagine that we are in the other branch, so in Chicago, what the person on that side would see would be, so, and I've clarified this as well, the red actually means unapproved interbranch transfer. That's when an item shows up in red here, so it would be very visual.
So it means that somebody has requested a transfer from Chicago, and Chicago has not accepted or done anything yet.
That's correct. So the transfer has been requested by Dallas from Chicago. So the Chicago guys are looking at this. They would see a red, meaning they have not processed this order yet.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Okay. Now, the next step would be, obviously, you notice as well that we will see Chicago in orange, meaning we're not currently logged in at that branch.
So New Jersey would be orange as well?
That's right. Any branch that you're not logged into at the moment would be orange.
Like that.
Okay. So the next step would be to physically log into the branch. It wouldn't actually be a step for you if you're in Dallas, but the Chicago guys would obviously be logged into Chicago, so we'll do that just for the purpose of the exercise.
Okay.
Okay, so we're in, and I'm going to go back to that same transaction, so we're looking at it now as if we're a person in Chicago.
Right.
And basically, there are two levels here. One thing we mentioned the approval aspect thereof. So, and this is something we're working on. We're basically adding there will be a sort of a manager level, so we can work on that in detail with you as well. So that a manager would be the only person who can approve the IBT before whoever else does the actual shipping thereof. So if they did, they would check off this box to say, okay, we approve that you transfer the item, and the person doing it can go ahead with the shipping. That'd be one thing. Once this is checked off, it will show up in a different color, which, if I recall, I don't remember if it was blue or green, we can check. If I refresh that.
I'll make sure I'm applying for the right
Maybe not. I'll double check that one for you. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to update. Or I didn't save that. That's probably what it is, so I'll just double check on that part. So the next part in this step, when the process would be, once the items actually get shipped, the step would be similar to what you're currently doing in Service Pro. Upon shipping, transform the reservation into a contract. So we're in Chicago, we're looking at a Protein Dallas request, even though it's being shipped to the delivery address that's in here, so directly to the customer in this case. Okay? And we're transforming it to a rental contract. Going to hit OK. What it will do is it will prompt us to ship the item. So on the detail screen, ship, which would be either dragging and dropping across what we're shipping. So if there were several, we could select all and drag and drop across, or just certain items. If you want to change, you move back what you want to remove from what's being shipped, or you could use the buttons up at the top, which would be return all items, or ship that needs to be fixed as well. I keep making notes here. Ship all items or just ship one at a time. So I'm just going to click on either of those. Now, if I click on transform right now, it's going to warn me that I need to select an extension. So it won't let me continue until I've selected the serialized item.
Because there's only one that showed up, does that mean there's only one in that branch?
Yeah, I think there were two that showed up. Yeah, so the one line was highlighted, but yeah, that means there are only two available in that branch. Oh, those are the two that are available, basically. Okay, now we're gonna click on transform, and that will then finalize it. So you'll still get this, but so it might need to go out. It might need to go through calibration before you can decide if it has to or not. We can simply ignore this the maintenance.
So now the maintenance due will pop up on every transaction if you're transforming it.
Yes, the way it stands. However, there's basically we're working on a configuration, so you can choose where it should pop up. So for the moment on your side it's set to pop up essentially everywhere. Okay. So now back to rental contract. Sorry, there we have it. So it's now a rental contract in Chicago. And now the logical step would be, so that's obviously the one part we're working on is the FedEx part, so that there would be the order number that's attached, and tracking number will be attached to the original order, so which would have been in the Dallas branch. If I log into Dallas, we're not going to see that right now, but that's obviously the theory behind it. So the reservation in Dallas is still the same, which was 3-phase here. Still have the same ordered item, but this is a multi-branch order. Now, this is the last part that needs to be finalized, is how the person in Dallas or the group in Dallas gets notified that the item has actually been shipped. Once they have been notified, so it's only the notification part we have to do, but what happens then is done already, is completed. So you would go to, you're the person in Dallas, you go to Chicago again, you go to their rental contracts, because you know it's been shipped and transformed, so you see the Protect Dallas one over there, you open it, and you get to essentially close the contract, confirm the closure or the fact that it's been shipped. And the way that would be done is still with the transform button. So when we do this transform right now, it goes straight to, it's only an IVT reception, as you can see. That's essentially what it is. So because it was a drop ship, it's not really a reception, but it's a confirmation of shipment. And it will happen in the same way. So as soon as I do this, and I click on save, it will ask me this ratio you want to transfer the quantities and close the contract. So this is the final step. It will put the contract into history then. In this case, it will not create a final invoice like we have in your normal process of going from contract to invoice. It will just put the contract in history. So, because that's not it's not a transaction with a customer, it's a transaction with the other branch. Okay. So it's a relatively long process when we see it like this, but when there are when there are several parties involved, and obviously each has their role to play. I've played all the roles now. Do you have any questions or comments on that process?
Yeah, I'm not totally clear, but it seems like I'm logged into Dallas. if I have a piece of equipment in Dallas, say that customer's in Illinois, it makes sense to ship from Illinois, so I put an interbranch transfer in to Chicago to drop ship that unit. Chicago, I can get that reservation created, and it'll pop up with a red color code telling them, hey, you've got an interbranch transfer here, and you haven't done anything essentially.
Yep.
And then once they do that, they can transform it, ship it with the FedEx stuff, which will come later. They ship that. Now, what notification is given to Dallas that that's done?
That's the part that we still need to complete.
Okay.
So that's really, the notification will most probably, we're trying to listen as well to suggestions from clients and prospects and several people. At the moment our feeling is that people don't necessarily want to get a notification in Sirius because they already have so many other things to check. So email might be the way we go. We would probably offer different ways of notifying the person on the other side. One of them could be just an alarm or a pop-up or something in Sirius itself, but there would most probably be an email notification built into that as well, saying multi-branch or interbranch request has been shipped, for example, something like that.
Okay.
With that,
But then we could keep like the order number or something that's consistent, because you've got that going consistent in between branches now, right?
Right, exactly. So that would probably be what would be a reference. Would you think email would be a good idea if we did it that way?
I can see there could potentially be advantage of that. Now, for me, I like the fact that you have a red warning that, hey, there's an IBT been requested that you need to do something.
Yeah.
So I like if we could be a consistently used color code. Even if in Chicago they do an interbranch transfer in it, that now they have done their part. Does the red go away, or does it go to green, or
Right.
color associated?
So that's the other part. If you're in Dallas, it's been done. And my understanding is that it will. Well, at the moment, actually, it doesn't give a warning. But what I would think would be good would be to have a different color code. So this was the original order. So maybe if we had a different color code showing up saying this has actually been shipped. That would probably be.
I agree, but here's a question on that, because I agree, I like that color code. If I submit, hey Chicago, I need you to ship this, they get a red light in the morning and they know and they do their thing. If mine, you refresh or whatever, and mine now goes from red to green, it tells me right here, hey, well that's not, it's shipped.
Yeah.
But my question is, what if I have an order with multiple items in an interbranch transfer from Chicago and New Jersey? We would need to be able, maybe we just say, well, it only turns green when both items are shipped from both different locations.
Right. Yeah, I would think something like that, where only once the order is complete from all locations, or shipped from all locations. Okay. So there's still a little bit of, I guess, fine-tuning on the alerts or what visually happens. But I think the process, we have, my main concern was I wanted to make sure we have the right process in terms of what happens to the transaction. So that part is good. I think, you're able to go into the Chicago branch and close it. And then you're back to this being your original transaction or order, essentially. Okay. Now, one question I had, my is slowly going to get into the I won't be able to stay much longer, but just one thing. Once Danielle, once the guys have finished the install on your side, and we don't have to get the FedEx guys involved yet, but would you mind if we spend, let's say, an hour or maybe maybe I might spend a bit more time even configuring the FedEx integration on your side, so we can start fine. Yeah, so we can do some real, especially the export part, like I mentioned, from FedEx to Sirius. I'd like to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm hoping for this to be done by tomorrow on their side, completed by tomorrow. I'll give you a call either way once it's done, so that we can just have a look at the speed and see how things perform on your side, and then obviously we can build upon that.
Okay.
Okay. Tomorrow? Is there a specific time that's better for you to talk?
I'm open. Let me check my calendar just to make sure. I know I'm waiting to hear back from people to tell me when they are available for conference calls. But right now I'm wide open.
Okay, well my day is also open, so let's leave it with the IT guys first, and once we have confirmation from them, we can just have a quick call to
Okay. That'll work.
Alright, again, thanks for your time. Have a good afternoon.